We have been discussing the ABS-CBN issue, and we know the CBCP issued a statement supporting the network, pero hindi po yata yun ang naka-attract ng atensyon ng government. Your statement on the Anti-Terrorism Act elicited a response from the Chief Presidential Legal Counsel, and he was mentioning the separation of church and state. Ano po yung it's not the first time that this issue has been brought against the CBCP, of course, even through previous presidents. Nabanggit na rin yan. Ano po yung sagot ninyo kay Mr. Panelo?
Well, any law freshman, including all those who study, all in the media, those educated enough, know very well that that separation of church and state doesn't mean that the church cannot anymore say things regarding what's happening in our society. Well, I am not a lawyer, but I think Attorney Panelo also knows this, that in the Constitution, when it speaks of the separation of church and state, it only means that the state cannot actually found a state religion, and then government funds or public funds cannot be used to fund or to support the religion of the state. So that is very clear in the Constitution. So I just don't know why they keep on harping about this, trying to discredit the Catholic Church when it speaks on socio-political issues or when it speaks on issues that actually affect the people. Well, I think masyado ng gasgas yung ganung issue. So hindi ko alam kung bakit ganun ang sinasabi ni Attorney Panelo, na napaka-elementary naman ng ibig sabihin ng separation of church and state.
Have you received more calls for help from the people related to, let's say, human rights concerns in the implementation of quarantine? And now with the Anti-Terrorism Act, are more people going to you about their concerns?
Well, number one, when it comes to the quarantine protocols, of course, we understand that our movements are actually limited. But when it comes to legislation, for example, this Anti-Terror Act of 2020, we have concerns, and according to the expectation of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, the bishops are alarmed about what's happening. And if you will notice in that pastoral exhortation, the bishops mentioned so many issues. So these are intervening issues. These are events that happened one after the other. It dates back, or dated back to the time of the ascension of President Duterte to the presidency. So I think the bishops right now, who were silent for quite a while, now notice that somehow there are events that are happening that may actually affect that so-called fundamental rights of the people. And so, sensing all this, the bishops decided to say something and be a father or a mother to her faithful, so that the faithful may also be informed about what's happening, and at the same time call on the faithful to pray for our political leaders, government leaders, as well as the leaders of the church, that according to the exhortation, we may be guided by the Holy Spirit so that we may always do what is for the common good.
Pero Father,
tell me if I'm...
Yung quotation ninyo, no, na, yung sinabi ninyo na if the church does not anymore speak about these matters and there are wrongs being committed left and right, then we cease to exist as a church. It's not just a call for prayer, no, it's a call for actually speaking out, it seems, against the government. Is this something that you are now encouraging the faithful to do?
No, number one, we're not encouraging faithful to go to the streets. We are merely encouraging the faithful to be knowledgeable about what's happening. And also, implied into that particular exhortation, that we continue our process of discernment. So we need to be together in order to reflect, in order to study. And then what can we do as a church? What can we do as believers? What can we do to help our brothers and sisters, especially those who may have less in life? So it's informing the people about what's happening, and at the same time, it's a call for prayer, but then there are no specifics. Meaning to say specifics that we are not calling them to go to the streets. We're not calling them to go against the government. In fact, when we actually expressed all those issues, informing the people about them, these are just to inform. This is just rather to inform the public about it, but never to go against the government. But also asking the government to listen to us, because not all of us have the monopoly of ideas. Not all of us have the monopoly of good intentions. But I think the government should actually listen to some other sectors, because perhaps other sectors can also contribute. So that's
Yeah,
the intention of the apostolic, the exhortation.
Father, yung concerns over the anti-terror bill, is it just a matter of seeing what might be misconstrued or misapplied or abused for other sectors, or does it also come from a sense of history of how even the church, even religious people, can be tagged as enemies of the state, can be tagged as terrorists?
Number one, we have to admit that the formulation itself of the law is quite flawed, and it's vague in a sense. So many other experts have already said that. And so, saying all this, uh, looking also at the history of our country, and even if we don't look now on the distant past, but the recent events. So we have bishops who were hailed to court because of these allegations of inciting to sedition. And then we also have this network whose, what do you call this one? It expired. It expired already. The franchise expired. And then we also have another personality connected with Rappler, who was also hailed to court, was convicted. And then in 2018, I think, if I am not mistaken, or 2017, with Senator Laila de Lima. So these are events that we are looking at. Is it are they actually just coincidental, or is there actually a plan, a conscious plan to do all these things? And what is really the plan? So that was, I think, in the mind of the bishops. And so therefore the word that they used in the exhortation is, we are alarmed at what's happening. So it's a combination of both. The formulation itself is quite flawed, it's vague, and at the same time the history itself would tell us that we have to be vigilant. We don't want to keep our guards down, because we never know what's going to happen next.